everybody, this is Panfurware LLC's Let That Sink In, Meet the Family. We do this every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today we have Mr. Ken Wank. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the intro.
All right, so we got the ball rolling. We did the intro, so let's get to the questions. All right, so Ken, introduce yourself, your name.
Ken Wank.
All right, and where's your current location?
I live in Floral Park. That's in the border of Queens and Long Island in New York, in the beautiful state of New York.
All right, another New Yorker. I love it. I hear your R's. I can tell it's authentic.
Yeah, you can hear you got the accent there.
Yes, sir. Cool. So how many years have you been in music?
Well, I would say I started writing in about 84, 85. That's when I first started writing. I mean, I've been playing the keyboard, like the piano, since I was a little kid. My folks got me a baby piano. And then when we were teenagers, when Julie and I were teenagers, there was an organ in the house. There was also a white piano. So when I was young, I played by ear. But starting writing was in the 84, 85-ish.
Okay. So what happened during that time made you kick it in higher gear?
Oh, what made me get into songwriting? Okay, you asked for it. Okay, here we go. So during the early 80s, I was actually a chiropractor in the other part of my life. And I was in chiropractic school in the early 80s. And what happened was during some study sessions, I was studying might have been 82 or 83. I would have the reruns of the old Partridge Family show on from the early 70s. And that's what actually inspired me into writing. I started to hear that music. I said, wow, that's really great. Now, I love 70s pop music. I love all 70s pop. But for some reason, that music, every night I would be studying, I'd have I never got into the show in the early 70s when it was really big. But for some reason, at that time, I said, wow, these songs are really good. And I kind of felt like maybe I could do something like that. And there was this one writer who wrote for him. His name was Tony Romeo. He had a big hit, I Think I Love You, and he wrote for other groups. And so I kind of identified with him and all the other songs. And then, I also love the Carpenters, ABBA. I loved ABBA. They were good. I kind of got into them later. But that was pretty much my inspiration for writing. And then I started writing as I was graduating from chiropractic school and starting working and everything like that. And that was my story. So you asked for it.
Well, that's a good story, though, because Partridge Family is a great start because it's friendly. They were smiles. It was happy music. So, and you know what? That kind of explains your style because it is happy. It's very upbeat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
and retro. It's very retro too.
That's inevitable. 20 years from now, anything we're making now is going to be called retro. So that's, you can't really change that. But, whatever style that comes out from you, that's true, and I do, and we'll talk about this as we go along. I find your style intriguing because it's still applicable.
Great. Thank you.
That's always good news, right?
Yeah, well, I remember initially when you first expressed interest, you really were taken by the music. You thought it had that kind of quality or some kind of quality. So.
Yeah. I don't sign people that I can't get a visualization of where I can pitch it. That's not fair. But when I heard your music, I immediately thought of a venue that I can pitch it to. So I thought, I lost the questions. Where did the questions go?
Take your time. I just want to add one thing, just
Sure.
real quick. I've had so much support over my life with my music, with my beautiful wife Ida, my sister Julie, my brother-in-law Ron, and my nephews. Everybody's been so supportive throughout the creative. When I write and just sharing it with people, I've had an incredible support system throughout the years. Really, really, just incredible.
Now, that's good because that's usually the hard part, because people you see every day, they sometimes they don't appreciate what you're doing, or because it's not in the norm, they don't understand why you're doing it. This is not what we do. What are you doing? Things like that. So that's really cool that they support you and they understand.
Yeah. They know it's in my blood. It's in my blood,
Exactly.
and they've been incredibly supportive. Well, everybody has
That's good. They know they can't change you, so let's just keep it rolling.
been. No,
This is him.
that's it. Yeah.
All right, I found the questions. Okay, so now then this is a tricky one because
Okay.
this answer is different according to who's answering it, be it you or be it us or be it the universe. What genre of music do you feel you make?
I think. Well, I really feel because the Partridge Family was so pop. It was like sunshine, happy pop music. I would consider myself a pop writer, and also pop dance. I did a lot of I pop dance as well.
Yeah.
I did write my first country song not too long ago, so I'm gonna kind of try to go into that area and start. In the process of working on another song which is country-ish. So, but I would say pop is my forte.
Yeah, pop. I agree. Pop, dance, awesome. Also dance because I don't think I heard anything that wasn't dance. I am curious to hear the country song. You definitely gotta shoot that over to me when you get a chance. Because
Oh, sure, I'll send that over to you. Sure,
yeah, I can imagine it being country but still being upbeat.
but it's pop. It's country pop, Anthony. It's
Country,
definitely. Yeah, I got to have some pop in there somewhere. So there was some. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm really curious to hear about that. That's cool.
yeah.
Oh,
I'll send it over to you when we're done.
thank you. Now, what I forgot to mention, folks out there in Clubhouse land, is that we also are playing Ken Wank's music on Spotify live as we speak. Um, there's a new app out, came out this year called Station Head, where it allows you to do the same thing we're doing right now on Clubhouse, only also play music in the background and also get points for streaming on Spotify and Apple Music. So probably a couple of days from now, can check your Spotify stream analytics and see if we give you a little bump because we're streaming it right now. Let me see if I can. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
You hear that?
So I can go out and buy a new car after this is over then?
Two cars, one for you, one for me. So yeah, we try to use technology here because it comes and goes. Some things stick, and things that are for one free and things that are helpful. We definitely try to use. So let's see here. Okay, so which PRO are you with?
I'm with BMI.
Already, BMI. How are they treating you?
They're good. I have a writer's account. I also started a publishing company for my own music, really only
Nice.
a number of years ago. But they're very good. BMI is nice.
Yeah, we get a lot of songwriters coming in and out of our shows, and they give us their experience. And right now, from what we gathered, BMI is great for full songs, and ASCAP is great for instrumentals or score music. It seems.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, many have said that when they have joined a team of writing a song, if they were with ASCAP, their ASCAP royalties was less than the BMI royalties.
Really?
And yeah, that's what I said. Really, and it was like, yeah, and a lot of people, chimed in and confirmed. So for full songs, it seemed like BMI really does it better, like in better words.
Okay.
But I like ASCAP because ASCAP is faster technology wise. They seem to respond better with emails. And when you register your music with ASCAP, it just pops right in. Like the next day is there.
Interesting.
Whereas,
Wow.
yeah, BMI takes some time, and it's really a what's the word?
A
It's
headache.
tough. It's a headache talking to BMI. Yeah, it's a headache talking to BMI because
I
I
haven't
guess,
had that much interaction that way, but good. Yeah, good.
yeah. I've tried to when I try to call them, it's always tough. And even though BMI is in 3 different time zones, it's it's still tough to get them. And when you email them, it takes a while too. But
Well, there's a woman at BMI. She's very nice. Her name is Antonella. If you ever want to contact, she's been incredibly nice to me over the years.
nice,
Yeah,
very
she's really
cool.
nice. Yep.
So let's swing back to genre. Um,
Mhm.
so I kind of confirmed with you that it's definitely pop dance, but I didn't tell you what okay, I told you, but I didn't tell the audience what I heard the first time I heard your music. I hear the what's the word, the uh, the Asian market.
Yeah, Anthony, I would love to break into the Asian market. I mean,
Yes,
like K-pop, J-pop, that would
yes,
be. It's so hard to get into that. It's just like it's easy to get a act of Congress passed than to get into that market. It's just it's
I
like
agree. I
unbelievable.
And yeah, it would be amazing to get into K-pop. Oh boy. And when I heard your music, I heard J-pop because they love upbeat music
Mhm.
with the synths and that sound,
Right,
and that's
right.
what I thought when I heard J-pop, all over it. So
Yeah.
that's definitely don't I have not forgotten that it's still my mission to get you over there with me too, riding
Oh,
on your
that would be wonderful.
coattails.
Oh
Yes,
boy, I'll be eternally grateful if you ever got that.
it would be cool.
I'll be your best friend. Good.
So back to influences. So you mentioned Partridge Family. Are there any other influences?
Well, let's see. Like I said, this one writer, Tony Romeo, he was just no, to me. Nobody wrote songs like this guy. He wrote for them. He wrote for Lou Christie. He wrote for Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge. I liked Petula Clark a lot. The Carpenters, ABBA.
Mhm.
I also like '90s Eurodance. I don't know if you guys know Bananarama, the Stockacre
Oh,
Waterman stuff.
yeah, I
Yeah,
heard of
yeah.
Banana Mama.
So
Yeah.
a lot of my songs, what I did was in the '90s, I would take a number of my songs and then I'll tell you about my producer at some point. I
Mm-hmm.
did a lot of that Eurodance stuff, like the early Kylie Minogue, Bananarama, Rick Astley. So
Mm.
that was an influence also. I would get those records and those sweet dance, pop dance stuff. And I made a lot of my demos, my records, actually, recordings
Okay.
with those in mind too. So that was an influence too, for sure.
Okay. And that makes sense because I can hear that too. Even when you said Rick Astley out, I immediately thought of Together Forever, and
Yeah, together forever. Right. Exactly.
yeah,
You're right.
and I can hear that. I can hear that sounds a big sound, strings in the back. It's
Yeah.
I can hear it. That's cool. So
Yeah, and I would bring those records to my producer, and he would try to kind of pattern the string lines and the rhythm tracks to that, and kind of synth
nice.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay. So have you had any placements lately? And when I say placements, I don't mean just, with sync. I mean just landing any songs with any other artists or things like that.
lately, I wouldn't say I haven't really had any major placements lately. Not that I've ever had any major placements. I mean, over the years, I have had some songs released in the Swedish area. I guess because some of them kind of have an ABBA feel to them. So I've had
Right.
a few songs released in Sweden. I've licensed some pop dance music into fitness DVDs and a dance rhythm game.
Okay.
Um, and I had a Christmas song released about 11 years ago. It was a it was a mid tempo. I don't know if I sent that to you. You should have it. But it was a mid tempo, but it was redone as a dance song. So that was released about 11 years ago on a compilation Christmas album with Bananarama.
Nice.
They didn't record it, but they were one of the tracks on the thing.
Oh, that's cool. Uh,
Yeah.
You know, to be on a compilation album with Bananarama is still
Yeah.
definitely okay.
Yeah. It was so called Super Dance Christmas Party.
Wow. So that, to me, that feels like that was a little bit of confirmation, because that means you were in the right, you were in the same vibe that you were listening to, and that was influential for you to be on the same album with them. That's cool. Is that how you
Yeah,
felt?
that was a coincidence. Yeah.
Cool. So so you mentioned about your years in music and things of that sort. But when did you fall in love with music? When did you realize this is it, nothing else? Here we go.
When you say fell in love, you mean, well, I started writing around 84. When you say
Right.
fell in love with music, I guess when I was a little kid, I mean, Julie knows, my sister, like, I play by ear. I don't read music. And I used to like
Mm-hmm.
drive one of my teachers crazy. He's tried to teach me how to read music, but I would hear songs when I was a real young kid and I would just be able to play them on the keyboard. So that's really when my love of music, I guess, at that age, I must have been 7, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, something
Cool.
like that. Yeah.
And, and I know you're in music as your day job too. Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, that's what I do, a lot of promoting of my music into different trying to get licensing opportunities, trying to find artists to record my music, and just a lot of different things. I go into like the Sync Summit. They have workshop, sort of like meetings, and I try to attend a number of songwriting get-togethers where songwriters play their songs. I joined the
Right.
National Songwriters Association last year,
Nice.
and just try to be well-rounded. It's a hard business, but I love it. I'm going to pitch till the day I die, I guess, but it's not easy. There's a lot of rejection, but I just feel that that's my calling at this point in
Right.
my life, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you sound like you remind me of Michelle. Is that her name? Um, she
Oh,
was sing
Michelle
some.
Maslin, Michelle
Yeah,
Maslin. Yeah,
yeah,
she's very sweet, very nice woman. Yeah,
yeah. And she's driven just like you. You know, she pitches and
yeah,
pitches, and regardless of you know how it goes in the industry. The it's
yeah,
easier to say no. And they,
yes,
but so you keep going until you get a yes. Why not? So that's
yeah.
really good.
And when you get the yes, it's very special. It means a lot then.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so I now just realized now you're Songstar Publishing. That's you.
Yeah, that's a company. I was doing some pitching of some music. I met if you have like 3 minutes for a real 2 3 minutes for a real crazy connection. I joined. I was attending a Nashville Songwriters Workshop a couple of years ago, and in the next to me, a couple seats away, one of the guys in the meeting mentioned the name Mike Appel. So this was like beyond synchronicity, the crazy coincidence. So I went up to him after the meeting and I said, "Is that the same Mike Appel that wrote for the Partridge Family?" He actually wrote in the early 1970 Partridge Family records. So the guy said, "Yeah, that is him. I'm a friend of his. Most people know him as Bruce Springsteen's first manager." So I ended up meeting Mike and this guy Rob, and I was pitching some of Rob's and Mike's songs, and that they with Songstar International, and
Mm,
it was just a crazy coincidence that I met Mike, and it was just it was an amazing that I met somebody from 50 years ago that wrote on. He had like a million seller on one of the albums. It's just
wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that
So
is
that's
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So you have a lot of closed loops. You have a lot
A lot of
of
irons in the
things.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of irons in the fire. But you have a lot of things happening coincidentally. Like people that you admire and work towards. You connect with them.
Yeah. I guess if you just think about something long enough, I guess the universe will find a way to connect you with them. It's just beyond belief
Yeah,
coincidence.
that's cool. So what software do you use if
Well, I don't
you're
produce. I have a producer. My producer I've worked with since 1988. His name is Steve Skinner. I don't know if anybody knows Steve. He did all the producing on Rent. He
oh
uh, he produced the song from Bette Midler a number of years ago, From a Distance.
Oh,
He's
wow.
worked with a lot of artists. Yeah, Steve Skinner. He works. So I don't do the producing. He does it. He works
Mhm.
on with Pro Tools. That's what he
Okay.
uses.
Okay. So that's the industry standard. Yeah. Okay. That
Yeah,
explains the sound. That explains the mastering and engineering. It's really clean.
yeah.
So yeah. And I was telling Eric that you were going to be a unique interviewee because you are a songwriter
Right.
in the purest form. So
Yes.
and as a music publisher, that's always a cool thing to have because producers are good, singers are good, songwriters. The composition itself, though, that's the core, that's the one, and with that, you could throw it into any other machine and spit out whatever style you need. But the songwriter, that doesn't change. The lyrics,
Thanks.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, man, no problem. That's cool. All right. So, do you have any other experiences you want to relay?
Any other coincidences? No. I mean, the only thing I will say, gave me a compliment. Mike Capella, who was Mike, he produced Born to Run, and he was Bruce Springsteen's first manager. So I played some of my music for him, and he actually said to me, I don't know whether he was telling me the truth. He says, "You would have written for the Partridge Family if you were writing back in those days," which I thought
Yeah.
was like, and that was an amazing. That was like one of the best compliments I ever got in my life.
Wow, that's cool. But I agree with him because you connected to that bandwidth, and we know it was evident because the people that you wind up reconnecting with later, like I mean, the Bananarama thing was really impressive to me. The fact that you was able to get on a compilation album with them because it's the same style.
Yeah.
They don't a compilation album doesn't venture outside of the genre, and the Bananarama probably was the premiere for that album. So for them to
Mhm.
throw in your music too with that was a very good sign. And then, like
Right.
you said, to be somewhere kind of randomly and talk to a guy that knows the guy for the Partridge Family,
Yeah.
and Rodney.
Well, I got one other thing to add, Anthony. Do I
Go
have a
ahead.
second to add something? Okay,
Yes, you do.
real quick, just another coincidence I forgot to mention. So in 2012, I became kind of friendly with the webmaster for David Cassidy. I used to go to his concerts all the time and everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked her if I could send him an email. So I sent an email that I was a big fan and I was inspired by him and Tony Romeo. So, like a day or two later, she sends me back an email. She says, "David wanted me to forward this email to you." And he sent me this email that said, "Dear Ken, thank you. I'm very flattered that I inspired you into writing, and I wish you nothing but success." So, that was like an unbelievable thing to get. And then a woman who's picking up his legacy since he passed away, she
Mm-hmm.
wrote a book with all the experiences people had with David Cassidy. And I'm in this book called Cherish, and
Wow.
she's actually going to interview me next week.
What?
I'm a anyway. I'm just kidding.
Your
I'm not a
celebrity
celebrity.
is crazy.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Far from it.
That's really
Anyway,
cool, though.
yeah, that was a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the folks out there listening in the audience, um, our songwriters, this is a reminder that I I don't want to say reverse engineer, but find your style. And for TV shows, do your research. Find the TV shows and the movies that sound like the music that you make. No, there's really no need to make something different to fit in because then it won't be as authentic unless that's just you can do that. But it's usually easier and better to make your kind of music, be in your groove, and then find media that needs the same style that you make. And then, it'll be an easier loop and it'll be easier laser focus. So that's the same way, Ken, with you, this is your style. This has been your style and you haven't changed it and it still works. And you keep getting this odd confirmation that,
Right.
that tells you this is you, this is how it's going and it
Right.
works. And the only other next step is just timing,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
and I always, I copy this from the NFL. Football is the best ability is availability. So as long as you continue doing your style, cranking out the music with your style, and that doesn't mean, you know, using today's technology. Because if you use today's technology, it does change the style a little bit because it'll sound like, you know,
Right.
today's technology, which is fine also. But we get period pieces, you know, we get shows
Right.
that are throwbacks to certain sounds. And when we haven't yet, but when the briefs come around for this sound, you're going to own this 100%. And that's why I signed you, because everything comes back around. Yeah, no problem. Everything comes back around.
I definitely.
And
One thing go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anthony.
no, I'd rather not talk. This is about you. Go ahead.
No, I jumped you a couple of times. I apologize for that. But I wanted to add something that if you know what I tried to do on some of the songs, I don't know exactly what you're going to play, but I heard Mysterious. So what I didn't try to make every one of my songs syrupy like the early 70s. So I did try to add some songs with edge, like Mysterious, Ain't Gonna Wait for You Forever. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm not sure exactly what you're playing, but not all of them are going to be Sunshine Pop. Some of them I tried to add a little more edge to make it a little more J-Lo, Britney Spears, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. So
And that's cool because I like that. They ain't gonna wait. I like the refrain.
yeah,
I like how it goes. The space in between the hook, and that's why I said that it's still up to date. Like it still works. You know, um, you'll find, Ken, that these shows we do are love fests. Because I mean, I signed you because I like you, and with everybody else that we did the interview, you know, we don't give any critiques because we already past that point. This is music that we love and music that we want to find for sync.